Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, everybody, depending on what time you're listening to this. This is Craig Antonucci of BPA Quality, and you are listening to or watching the inaugural episode of Voice of the Customer. So this is how this podcast came to be. We were looking at doing a podcast about customer experience because everything that we do at BPA Quality is about the customer experience. We help clients with customer experience. And we were having a little trouble getting industry experts that work for large organizations to join us because of confidentiality. So we thought, what's a better way to do this? And a better way to do this is, well, let's just talk to their customers. So here today, I have with me one of my good friends, Henry Scalfo, who is one of those people who is a customer. And he's going to talk a little bit to us about what it means for him to be a customer. So the people out listening to this in the industry can hear directly from the source what they need to do in order to please people like you. So welcome to the show, Henry.
Hey, Craig. Thanks for asking me.
All right. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Henry.
Where do we begin?
Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Get a little background so we know what you're about.
Southern New Jersey. Pretty much lived here most of my life. There was a time I lived in Switzerland, but that was brief. That was for work.
I heard the rumor.
But
yes.
Lived here. Yeah, there's a rumor. There was up in South Jersey. Grew up in a contracting family, electrical contracting company.
Okay.
So something ingrained in me from the beginning was always just working with people, and we always had customers that we had to satisfy. So I had that experience of what it's like to be on the service side, to be able to take care of a customer, and that was just part of the family business. And then eventually broke off on my own company now. So
okay, so you grew up in a family business. Now you own your own business, so you know what it's like to deal with customers. You know, we find that a lot of times when we're listening to calls, a lot of people who are dealing with customers act a little bit differently than they do as they act as a customer. So talk to me a little bit about how you are as a customer. You know what it's like to be a business person and deal with your customers, but you know, what does somebody who's dealing with you, what should they expect? What makes you pleased with the experience, and what really gets you upset?
that's a good question. For me, I think it's just simple communication. I'd like to be recognized that I'm in their presence. That's always important, depending on the situation and where I'm buying or whatever I'm doing, whoever I'm working with. Just a simple honesty. I like to communicate with people, and I want them to communicate back. I want friendly service. I want honest service. No attitudes.
That's tough in New Jersey.
Meet me in the middle. It's tough in New Jersey, but
yeah.
There's you can go into a place sometimes and you see that maybe the clerk or somebody, they've got a little attitude, or either they're sticking their nose up at you, looking down at you, or if they know more than you, it's why you're there, is because you want their expert advice, rather than share it with you in a way that makes you feel comfortable. It's condescending. That's not a good experience to me. Right. So yeah, just for me, it's just simple honesty. If I'm jovial, I hope they're jovial too, and that's typically what makes it good for me. And then obviously knowing their craft or their product or whatever it is, and
sure,
giving me information that's useful.
Sure, excellent. So it sounds like you're driving that opinion from a couple personal experiences. Do you have any examples that you could share with us with specific companies or organizations that you've recently dealt with that you had a good and bad experience with, and maybe what they could have done to fix it or done better?
There's, as far as a great, outstanding customer experience, there's one. It's a small company though, here on the East Coast, and it's a wine company. It's a retail wine shop. If I talk about that,
sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody that will watch this podcast and listen to this likes wine. Trust me, especially since they're at home with COVID. Yeah.
Well, I've got my glass right off camera here. So.
Excellent.
So I'm prepared. Years back in my early adventures into wine, somebody told me about this boutique wine shop in New Jersey. And can I say their name?
Yeah, absolutely. I prefer you do.
Okay. It's Moore Brothers Wine Company in Pennsauken.
Okay.
And they also have a place in Brooklyn, New York, and Wilmington, Delaware now. So it came highly recommended. I walked into the store and I was greeted exactly the way anybody would want to be greeted. It was, hello, welcome. Is there anything we can help you with? So they asked what my tastes and preferences were. And at the time, they're very different then than they are now. I explained what I was looking for, and they took me right to the wines and told me about the wines. So I was educated while I was there, and there was no condensation, no snootiness about it. It was just a nice conversation.
Sure.
And we all communicated so well. What blew my mind was they said, you seem like someone who's really interested and passionate about wine and wants to learn. They walked over and said, here's a wine that's unlike anything we spoke about, but I think you would like it. Take it home. It's on us.
Wow.
I thought they were joking at first, and they said, no, we're totally serious, because this wine is different than everything you explained that you've been drinking, and we think you're going to like it. Let us know. And I left, and that wine was absolutely fabulous. And from there, it grew, and it got to a point where I was such a customer that I eventually became a part-time employee. So because of that customer experience, it was a win-win, where I got to continue to learn by working with them part-time, and they got the use of my labor. So that was just something that blew my mind at the time, that they actually offered me this bottle of wine. Now, whether that's legal or whether they're going to get in trouble for that, I don't know. I hope not.
Yeah, well, we'll put the disclaimer on there. You became a eventual employee. So this happened well before you became well-versed in wine, right? So
yeah, this was in my early stages. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So they took you by the hand. That's great. So tell me about something on the other side. So tell me something about that wasn't a great experience, and maybe what they could have done to improve it.
Well, I got a few of those, but there's one that comes to mind because it's one of the most recent, and that has to do with just a simple doctor's appointment that I had. I'm not going to say the doctor or the name, but the experience is relevant, I think. And I was experiencing a situation where I needed to see the doctor immediately, and had to do with issues of the heart. So they said, yes, you can come in right away. And this is a doctor I had been seeing several times before.
Was it a total eclipse of the heart, or?
Not this day.
No. All right. Well, at least it wasn't that serious then.
No, nothing serious about it at all. Actually, it was quite serious. And so they said, come in right away. Well, what happened was, between the time I saw them in the past and the time I walked in the door, my insurance had changed.
Oh.
And this was not, my new insurance was not one that they supported. So I walked in and I met the girl at the front desk, and she was very territorial. And she said, well, we don't take this insurance. I'm like, okay, but this is urgent. You guys called me in right away. The doctor said, get in here. I need to see the doctor, right away. I'll give you cash.
Sure.
I'll write you a check. No, we won't accept that. You have to have the insurance, and we don't take your insurance. I said, do you realize the doctor told me to get in here? And I'm getting louder. And I'm like, you're causing me stress, and I really don't want this stress right now. And it was escalating. And she said, well, why don't you just go to the hospital? You should just go to the ER.
Oh, my.
Unfortunately, someone else in the office up front heard the exchange, went in the back and got the office manager. And I saw them talking in the background. And the office manager came over and asked her, the woman at the front who was causing the drama, to stop. She pulled me aside and said that the doctor said he'll see you. We'll work out whatever financials or anything else on the side. And the experience with the doctor was great. We talked about insurance. We had some jokes. He took good care of me. But what they turned that, it was a terrible experience. I mean, my nerves, how you get when you're get
Sure.
really passionate about something, or something becomes that heated. And it was very important to me.
I could see your body language is getting excited right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep
about
it calm. I'm not dropping any F-bombs or anything, so I'm keeping it calm.
Well, that's good. This is a G-rated show.
well, I'll try to kick it up a little, maybe PG-13 or something.
There you go.
So anyway, what was good though is that the office manager saw what was going on, and she came in and she fixed the situation and alleviated everything. And then the front desk person kind of disappeared when I was on my way out. But some of the other staff came up and they apologized for her and for that treatment. Sadly, or better or worse, either way, I had to go find a different cardiologist that took the insurance that I had.
Right.
So that was one of those weird experiences that they turned it around. And here's one with an Airbnb that was not turned around or corrected or rectified. A couple
so
years
we got
back,
two bad experiences we're going to share.
Oh, I'm going to go negative here.
No, well, the statistics say that people find it easier to complain about things than they do give credit for good things. So you are falling right in line with human nature. So we verified that you are, in fact, human.
Yes, because we remember that hot stove when we touch it. So we had a small bungalow in San Diego, California. The family went out there. My son was out there, living out there at the time. My daughter also. So I'm sorry. My son was out there for college. My daughter was still in New Jersey. So my wife and I and my daughter, we all went out. And my son-in-law at the time, we went out to California. We stayed at this nice little bungalow. And there's another little bungalow right next to it, small little place. It was cute, adorable, nothing fancy. Did the job. Well, what happened was I went out hiking. They all went to some CrossFit event. And while I'm in the mountains, I get a call from the B&B host that said, oops, hey, I accidentally double booked this weekend, the bungalow that you're in. There's a wedding party that's in the other bungalow, and they're supposed to also be, all the guests from the wedding are supposed to be in the one that you're in.
Oh my.
You know what, you're freaking kidding me. So in my mind, I'm thinking of the wedding. I'm not really thinking of him too much. I said, well, listen. He said, I'll put you up in another place. I got another place for you. So I hike down off the mountain. I go all the way back. I pack up everybody's luggage and pack it into the car. The guy sent his father to help, which was very nice. Packed up, we get to the other place. It doesn't have some of the amenities that we needed, but it was another place. We hustled. We really went out of our way to help him, the host, save face with the wedding party. You know, I could have said, screw you, I'm staying there. You know, I've got the contract, but I thought of what's the greater thing? Somebody's getting married. This is the last thing they need is a bunch of drama. What's it for me? I can pack up some stuff and move to a different place.
Sure.
So he said, no, I'll make it right. I'll make it right. Well, when it came time to make it right, he never made it right. And the only thing he offered was, well, I got you a different place, and you can even see the beach from where I moved you to.
So he tried to legitimize it.
Yeah, and of course there was some expletives that came out of my mouth, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
You know what we did through it to help you save face, and all you do is say, well, we had a better view, so you think you're clear. So that was not a good experience, and of course, you know, like you said, we tend to have quite a few of those.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's a common theme in your style as being a customer to where you want to be heard, you want people to listen to you so they can pick up on what's important to you and what's not important to you. And you want to be dealt with straight up. You don't want to be jerked around. You want the good news, the bad news, and what's the outcome in the deal. Is that about nail it what you're looking for as a customer?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think there's the integrity, the honesty part of it is important to me.
Yeah, sure.
Don't, as you know, somebody used to say, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Tell me the truth. You know, and that circumstance was not very honest. But just be polite, just be professional. Take a step back. You know, there's other experiences where it would have been so simple of an exchange and pleasant, if they just did X.
Yeah.
You know, and rather, sometimes they're more focused on saving face or posturing, or maybe they're just having a miserable day and they don't like their job and they want to let you know it. And I don't, you know, you don't want to go and do business with a place like that.
Yeah, no
If
doubt.
you're having a bad day, well, you really need, it's not my problem, you know. Let's try to make your day better. How can we make your day better? So I don't, but yeah, I think you nailed it.
Very good. So everybody out there in the world listening to this, you heard what Henry had to say as far as what's important to him. And I'm sure what he had to say is important to a lot of your customers out there. So if you want more information about this conversation or conversations like this, come to our website at bpaquality.com, and we're going to have these all stored there so you can listen to hopefully dozens and hundreds of customers tell you exactly what makes them tick, just like Henry today. So Henry, thanks so much for taking your time to do this for us, and have a wonderful day. Enjoy your wine.
My pleasure. Have a great evening. Okay,
There you go.
cheers.
Reap what you sow. All right, bye-bye, bud.